All right, dude, you ready for a challenge? In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 points of trivia about Robert Sweet of Stryper that you may not know. Now, you might know some of these. I don't know, to be honest, because I haven't read them yet. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to read through these with you and respond in real time. So here's what we're going to do. I'll walk through these 10 points of trivia and just kind of respond to them in real time. I'll keep track of how many of these I knew beforehand. You keep track of how many you knew beforehand. And then at the end of the video, we'll compare and see who did better, and maybe we can connect down in the comments and talk about it. Rocking you up for Jesus Christ with classic style hard rock music and practical Bible teaching. Trivia point number 1. Robert Sweet designed the iconic yellow and black striped drum kit himself, incorporating it into Stryper's distinctive visual identity. Okay, I don't really know how to respond to that one because they're Robert's drums. I would always assume that he designed them, right? So I'm not sure why that's a point of trivia. On the other hand, it is interesting that he took the initiative and was intentional about creating yellow and black stripes to go along with the whole Stryper vibe. So he was intentional about that. Doesn't surprise me at all. I can't say for sure that I knew that he designed those drums and I'd thought about that before. So I'll put that one out there as kind of like, I sort of knew that. I don't know whether that counts as a point or not. Let's go into the next one. Trivia point number 2. Before Stryper, Robert played drums in a band called Rock's Regime, which later transformed into Stryper. Yes, I knew that one, okay? And I bet a lot of you knew that one as well. That's fairly common as far as among Stryper fans knowing that they were Rock's Regime before they became Stryper. So, all right, let's look at number 3. Sweet is a skilled graphic designer, like his brother Michael, also we learned is skilled in that area, and he created the band's logo, showcasing his artistic talents beyond drumming. I will be honest, and again, almost like the drums being designed by Robert, it doesn't surprise me that he designed that, but I can't say that I knew he was the one who designed the logo. Did you know that? All right, let's go to trivia point number 4. In 1986, Robert Sweet was briefly replaced by Mike Portnoy, whom we now look back on and remember as the great drummer for Dream Theater, during Stryper's To Hell with the Devil tour due to health issues. Of course, you've heard me share in other videos that while I loved Stryper in the 80s, I never saw them live during their heyday. My experience with them live actually began when they first reunited in the very beginning of the 2000s at that show at the House of Blues in Chicago. So, no, I didn't know that. Did you know that? I almost feel like the word replaced there is a little bit intense. It seems more like Mike was willing to jump in there for a leg of the tour and help the band out, keep the tour going while Robert was recovering. I never heard any serious talk of Robert being replaced at any time, So anyway, that's interesting. Trivia point number 5. Sweet's drum solo during live performances often included a moment where he played the drums blindfolded, showcasing his impressive skills. I didn't know that. Did you know that? If you saw him live back then, I don't think he does that still today. I have never seen Robert do a full-on, maybe one of the very early times when I saw him, he did a drum solo, but I don't remember there being any kind of blindfolds at that point. Of course, that was in the early 2000s. Maybe in the heyday, The arena tours, that was just a bigger deal, Everything was bigger then. And it doesn't surprise me that he'd be able to play blindfolded because, if you've played any instrument and you've spent, thousands of hours with that thing in your hands or seated doing that thing over and over again, you just know where everything is. It's like playing guitar without looking at the instrument. You just know where stuff is. Guitar players play with their eyes closed all the time, right? Full leads and intricate runs. And so, yeah, I can see that. But I didn't know it beforehand. Did you? All right, coming up here in just a second, we got 5 more points of trivia. But before we get to that, I want to tell you about a way that you can share some love with the Pastor Brad Rocks channel here, support this channel and the ministry that's going on here, and make an investment into your walk with Jesus at the same time, man. Check this out. Hey, 80s Christian metal soldiers under God's command, did you know that every soldier under Christ's command spends time on the front lines and in the trenches fighting spiritual battles? The Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 5, "For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. For the weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ." Friends, the battle is fierce, but we all know that in Christ and by His power and by His grace, the victory is already won. I hope you know Jesus like that. That's just a snippet from my book, Spiritual Bootcamp. This book is all about equipping you and training you up to be a fierce warrior in the army of God to live a victorious life, man. There's a link in the description so you can check the book out. It's also available wherever you purchase books online. Trivia point number 6. Robert and his brother Michael were both pastors, emphasizing their strong Christian faith outside the music realm. That's an interesting one. Now remember, this is ChatGPT generating this, so I'm not 100% sure how accurate that is in terms of whether they were ordained and all that kind of stuff. I know Michael was the worship leader at Sanctuary for a while. Wouldn't be surprising to me to know that Robert was involved in something like that at one point. It's also not hard for me at all to see them in a role at a church serving, just because they love the Lord. So I can honestly say I'd never heard that before. I didn't know that. If anyone would like to do a little more research on that and let us know down in the comments, like, where does that come from? Is there any more information out there on them being quote unquote pastors or being ordained? I'd like to learn more about that, right? Let us know in the comments. But I can honestly say, nope, I hadn't heard that one before. Trivia point number 7. He once collaborated with Yamaha to create a custom snare drum called the Metal Mighty. That's pretty cool. Honestly, didn't know that one. I think there's going to be a few more about Robert that I wasn't familiar with because I'm not a drummer. I bet you if you're a drummer and you followed Robert, you knew that one, didn't you? Trivia point number 8. Robert Sweet has a side project called Bliss. I'm going to say yes. I've checked out their music, just kind of, dipping my toe in there and listening to samples. Never have really been a giant fan of that sound or the sound of that band. I was like, okay, yeah, he's in a band called Bliss. I listened to 3 minutes of something. I'm not really into it, blah, blah, blah. Trivia point number 9. Sweet has a passion for car racing and has participated in various racing events. Just being flat out honest, I'm going to say I didn't know that one. It would have been easy for me to kind of go with my gut and say, I think I may have heard that somewhere, because it kind of, how when you feel like maybe you sort of knew that one, but I can't honestly say that I did know that one. So that's pretty cool. By the way, if you can find any additional information on this, Robert driving race cars or pictures or videos or anything like that, let us know down in the comments. That'd be cool to check out. Trivia point number 10. In addition to his drumming duties, Robert Sweet contributes backing vocals to many of Stryper's tracks, adding depth to their harmonies. Absolutely, of course I knew that one. The whole band sings. And you know what's really cool? I have 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son, and they're both very musical. In a lot of ways, they're so much better than me. My wife has a beautiful voice, and they really kind of got her gift. And both of them can sing. And there's a thing in families. When families sing together, brothers or sisters, there's a cool blend that happens, especially when they're singing harmonies. I hear it with my kids all the time. A great example of it, if you want to go old school and check this out, is the Everly Brothers, man. Go check out some of their stuff. That actually makes me think about why Stryper's harmonies sound so good, because you have a couple brothers in the mix there. Very cool. All right, man, I added it up, and I am kind of blown away to say that I only knew 3 for sure. There were a few in there that I was like, okay, I'm not surprised by that at all, but I can't say for sure that I knew it beforehand. So I knew, of course, he was in Bliss. Of course, I knew he was in Rock's Regime, and I knew that he sang a lot of background vocals. Okay, those are the 3. So how'd you do, man? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear. If any of these were really intriguing to you and you can find more information about any of these points of trivia or more points of trivia about Robert, let us know down in the comments, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, grab the link and share this video with a friend, man. Somebody you think would enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed yet, oh my goodness, by all means, definitely subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any more videos like this going forward. As you can see, I got my Storm the Gates album cover over here, okay? This is a parody album. Put this one out a few years ago. It's 10 parodies of classic hard rock and metal songs by bands like Metallica, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Accept, Dokken, many more are on there, man. This is a killer collection of tunes that will rock you up for Jesus. It's available everywhere that you stream or download music, so add these songs to your playlist, share them with your friends. It'll really help the channel, and I know that it'll bless your walk with the Lord. If you enjoyed this video, I believe you'll also enjoy these over here, man. Check one of them out. Keep your eyes on Jesus, and I'll catch you in the next video.